Hello everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk DC Universe Online Part 1. So, I did want to do this episode for a while now, because so much is happening, and with SOE Live and everything, so much more has been announced, and things are just moving along with the DC Universe, and I just really wanted to get a video in where I talked about the things that I have problems with, and the things that I am looking forward to, and the things that I wish were in the game, and the things that I wish could be different. So that's basically what this whole episode is going to be. It's going to be me talking about bugs and things that I don't like, and news, and my hopes and dreams. My hopes and dreams for the whole DC Universe. So, I wanted to start this off with going through bugs, because I always thought that starting off with the bad is often better than starting off with the good. It's like going to a concert, really. You don't go to the concert to see the startup band. Well, not everyone does. Some people do. But you go there to see the main show. So the first little bit is not exactly what you were looking to see. So that's how we'll do it. We'll start off with the things that I have problems with, and then we'll go on to all the good and great things in the game. So, first off, I want to talk about traits. Specifically, I want to talk about powers. Because between the power and skill points, you can get a lot of skill points, which is fantastic, because then you can spec into all sorts of different weapons. Like, for instance, I have dual pistol, and I have dual, I don't have dual wield anymore. I have hand blaster. So, you know, you can spec into different things, which is fantastic. But with powers, you get 15 points, and you get those in the first 30 levels. And that's great and all. That'll get you probably the loadout that you're looking to get. But I would like to see more. I would like to see the ability to get at least maybe 10 more power points. I think that would be a good number, a good round, solid number. Because there are so many things in here that I could probably use in different situations. And I'd like that ability to, in the later levels, like, you know, 60s, 70s and stuff like that, be able to collect these power points some way or another through briefings or investigations. I think it would be really fantastic, especially with something that they're coming out in the future, and I will talk about that later, and then we'll come back to this point. But PowerPoints, I wish there were more, because there's just so many things on here. And say I want to have both a controller and a DPS set. So my stuff here for Shadow Justice is set up so I can be a controller. I don't really have anything set up to be a DPS. So if I ever wanted to do a DPS role, I'd probably have to go through and respec everything so that I could get that. So I could get a better loadout to be a DPS. But unfortunately, I don't have that ability because I don't have enough skill points to collect the other skills in here. Also, speaking of skill points, down at the bottom here of the Iconics powers, you have these kind of buffs, these innate buffs. And once you've collected all your abilities that you want, you have very few to put in there unless you don't spec very much into these. Maybe you go like down one side or something and you're like, well, that's good, I'm set. Which is fantastic if that's the case. But if you're like me, gosh, I only got, you know, I got 6 of them, which I guess is decent, but, you know, I'd like to be able to have Miracle Worker and get a permanent 10% critical healing magnitude gain, and I'd like to have tactical genius and get a 10% critical attack damage, but I don't have the points to spend there. And it would be nice to be able to do better weaponization of things around the city, or better x-ray vision so I can have better perception, but I can't because I don't have enough power points. And I think that's something I think they should look into, as maybe adding 5, 10 or so power points that you can get. Now, nextly on the traits menu, I wanted to talk about skills. And this is something that I think is good and I think it's bad at the same time, and I'll tell you why. So, what it is in one of the most recent updates, they've changed it so that instead of having 4 innate abilities down here at the bottom, being like defense and health combined, you now have the ability to spec 3 times into defense and 6 times into health, which I guess is okay, but I think we had it better off before, personally. And that's just me. But these points in here have become less necessary than they were before. Because, I mean, really, you know, if I don't want to have the critical attack damage extra bonuses on this, for whatever reason, I didn't want them, I don't need to put them in there. It would only end up being 16% extra critical attack damage that I would get from that. Or I could put 1 in it, and I could spend 2 on something else. So it comes with the good and the bad. They've split these up, and they've made it so you don't necessarily have to get those last 2 or so, or you don't need to spec into it at all if you don't want to. I mean, this one, what is it? 6 times 6. Yeah, so you don't really need all these power points, and they don't really add that much to your power bar. I mean, my power bar, let's take a look at it. My power bar, it's delicious. Let's take a look at my stats. So, if I got rid of that, I'd be around, I don't know, 240 or something, or 2040. So it really doesn't affect it necessarily. So, or no, actually I would be a little bit more. I'd be like around 270 or so. So it really doesn't affect how your weapons feel anymore. So that's kind of an issue I have. I think before they made a difference, and you spec'd into them 3 times, and you got that bonus, which was amazing. And I think it was 3 times anyway. But you spec'd into that, and it was cool. You had that extra 100 defense and that 50 health or so, or whatever it was. It was kind of nice. It was kind of had it condensed and stuff. Now they have it broken up, so it's really what you want. And I don't know. I could go either way with that, really. So that's the gist of what I wanted to talk about with the traits anyway. Nextly, I wanted to talk about chat. Now, personally, when I'm going around in the city and stuff, it's fun to watch the chat go, because the people will have some of the craziest comments and things in there, and they'll just have the funniest conversations I've ever seen. I've seen people just argue about comics, and I think that's amazing. It's awesome that people are in here discussing the comics, talking about what's going on in the comic books and everything like that. Who's their favorite character? Why don't they like this person? But it also leads to trolling and stuff, so... But that's not my point. Trolling will happen whether or not you want it to, especially if you add a chat feature in. My problem with it is they keep changing it so that you can have different types of chat. I mean, it started off with, say, say, shout, group, league, and trade and versus. Then they added recently LFG, looking for group, which was really cool. But the fact is that this chat goes through all worlds, except for, you know, if you're a hero, you can't talk to a villain through it still. But it goes through all the different worlds and phases and everything that's going on in the game. So everyone can say, I need this person, or I want to be a part of this group and stuff like that, which is awesome. But it allows people to sit there and chat on it. And it doesn't really do what it's supposed to do all the time. Right now it is, thank goodness. But when it first came out, especially, people, if they weren't in the same phase, people would be yelling, is this person online? Is that person online? I can't find them. And, you know, people are having conversations on it and stuff. And this is kind of a minor thing, but I wish there was a channel. And I don't know if it would work. I doubt it would work, because I think Shout kind of became it. But if there was one like LFG, where it was through all worlds in the game, you could chat with your friends on it, and it was just a general chat. You could talk about whatever you want on that one, to anyone in the world that you wanted to, if you wanted to. That, I think, would be better than having the LFG. The LFG can stay. That's great, because then you could put in there, I'm looking for this group, because I need to do this raid, because I need to level up, guys, so you gotta help me. But I think it would be better if you added a chat that gave people the impression that it's just for chatting on. It's not for in-game stuff. And that's coming from the, I guess, pro player side of me, that it'd be nice to have a chat where when I'm trying to get into a raid, I don't get blown over by a guy talking about how big his package is. So, just saying. That's one thing I had an issue with. Another thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly, I was going to run all the way to the watchtower, but I don't think I really feel like it. Let me check my map. No, I can. Let's run to the watchtower really quick. And I will talk to you about this on the way. One thing I kind of had an issue with is, it's great, the worlds that they have created. They're awesome, they're very detailed, they have all the iconic places that I want to see, especially Gotham. It's got all the different places that I want to see, and places that don't even matter, but they still added them because it's part of the lore. But there's cities that I want to see. I want to be able to walk around in Opal City, or I would love to have the ability to walk around Bloodhaven more than it just being an alert. And one big thing that they added, which I felt a little sad about, but I understand. I don't make the game. So these are all just things I wish would have changed or been different. But Central City here, isn't it awesome looking? Isn't it really cool looking? Wouldn't it be cool if it was actually a city and not just like a few blocks here and there? Because really what you see here, what you can look around right here, this is the city, pretty much. What you can see within the screen, that's pretty much the city. Once you get past these points over here, past the gas station and stuff, you get stopped. You don't get to go any further. That's it. That's where it ends. I'd love to go venture over there further into Central City. But I understand that it takes a long time to make a city. I just wish that there was more cities to see. And this game's very young still. It's only got, what, 4 years or so on it, maybe 5. So in the future, they may expand this. They may go further out and see the rest of the city. And we'll talk about cities and stuff again later when we talk about news, because they are showing that they want to expand the world in which we live in. And it's not just Metropolis and Gotham and versions of Metropolis and Gotham. Well, I guess, well, we'll talk about that later. Anyway. But that's pretty much the biggest bugbears and problems I had with the game. Now, I want to talk about bases, because bases have been a huge thing, especially with the home turf, and we'll talk about some more stuff that's coming up with them, with bases and things like that, when we talk about news. But firstly, I just wanted to head over to the Shadow Lair and show you guys some stuff. Things that I kind of had a problem with, which I really wish they would change a bit, you know. Let me just hop in here and show you the decoration mode here. So, when you're going around, you're placing your items, it's great that they add all these nodes and stuff so all this stuff can stick where it is. And it's great that there's so much room and I can fit so many things in here and I can customize it really nicely. But I would love to be able to stick this here on top of a table. I can't do that. I can't put it up on top of this examination table. It seems like some items... Ooh, I got rid of that. That's fine. It seems like some items should be able to sit on top of things. Like if I wanted to put that on this table, it feels like I should be able to put that on that table because it's such a small item. It feels weird having it on the floor. And another thing is, if I wanted to move this couch over, I can't put it on top of this rug. Why can't I put it on top of this rug? The rug is just a floor item. Isn't it part of the floor, technically? It's just strange. It's strange that you wouldn't be able to do these things. And I wish you were able to put items on top of other items. And it doesn't have to be every item in the game. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for very specific items, like rugs and floor plates and things like that, to be able to have stuff laid over them. These, strangely enough, the grates, you can actually put stuff over those. So it makes me wonder why you can't put stuff over a carpet if you can put it over a grate. And these papers, you can't put stuff on top of that either. And you can't fit it underneath stuff. It's very strange that you can't do these. And I understand it's probably a lot of technical stuff, and I'm not telling them that they have to have this, but it would be nice. And it would be kind of cool, because I've seen there is a version of this equipment rack here that has, I don't even know if I have any around here, I don't, that has chemical tubes stuck into it. And it just looks amazing. Why can't I just take chemical racks and stick them in here, if that's what it's meant to be for? It's just some things it seems like you should be able to do it. Another thing that I want to talk to, I'm just going to exit out of here really quickly. The warp time on bases it's not as long as going to the watchtower or the oh, I can't think of the villain's base. But it's not as long of a wait. And that's cool and all. But I wish it wasn't that long. 30 minutes? That's a lot of time to wait for if I just go out and I go back to the watchtower, I have to go walking all the way back if I just need to go there for one thing. Say I don't have a R&D station or an R&D vendor, and I don't have a mailbox in here. I have to go all the way back to the watchtower if, say, there was something in the world out here that I wanted to do and I was taking care of something and I warped out here. I can't. It just is a lot of time to have to spend going back and forth when really it's your base. Shouldn't you just be able to warp there anytime you wanted to? I don't understand why there's that long of a wait time if it's your base. So that's the other big issue I had with the game, and specifically with bases. So now, after I've gotten all my grievances out, well, most of my grievances out, I wanted to talk about the new stuff that's coming in further updates and DLCs and things like that. Now, last year at SOE, they announced Halls of Power, which were going to be a DLC that was going to allow us to get League bases and a whole bunch of other stuff with League bases. They have decided to make that a free update, just a game update, and everybody will get the ability to use League bases the way they're supposed to be used, and you will get all the perks from it like you're supposed to. Along with that, going with bases here, they are going to add something that's very cool, and something I am really happy about, because there's certain things that kind of bug me about bases too. Like tables, there's this table, like this desk, and then there's the like Oriental style desk. Those are the only ones I've ever found in this game that's like a desk. Why can't I have like tech stuff? Why can't I have like Batman's terminal? Why can't this be something bigger? Well, it seems like they're probably going to add a lot of that stuff in. So that's why I'm kind of skipping over that, is because I'm sure in the future they'll add more things into the game. More base items like desks and tables and things like that, and it'll be really nice to have all those new things in the game. But of course, they have to keep adding them, so it's going to be a slow process. But one thing that they are planning on adding, which will also come in game update. I don't know if it's coming with the Halls of Power stuff, you know, the League bases and stuff like that. But they are going to be adding in armories. Now you might be asking yourself, what is an armory? An armory is basically like it's kind of the concept art they showed. It looks like a chemical tube, but it contains a set of armor. And what they do is you can place them in your base, and everyone will get one free. Any other ones you want, you can buy off the marketplace. But you get one free, and you can place them anywhere in your base. And what it is when you go up to it, you set up a loadout. And I'm guessing you can set up a costume style. And it will imprint that into the armory. So when you go up to it, and you click on it, and you say, it'll probably say, do you want to change your loadout? You'll say yes. Or do you want to access armory? And you'll say yes. And it'll access it, and it'll give you whatever that loadout is. And I'm guessing it'll probably swap your current one for whatever's in the case. And I think that is just a phenomenal idea to have this ability to do that. At the same time, though, like I was saying, with traits, if I can't unlock these things, what's the point in having a loadout unless it's like one thing that I need to change out? Like I could, there's only really one power that I swap out. Let me go to my loadouts here, and I'll go to my controller one. So when I'm doing FOS 2, there's a part where you have to get across the bridge, but the rest of the time you don't need a pole. Because at the bridge, you need to pull enemies away from the crystal so that you can get past the gate. So during that, I have to quickly swap this one out for... Let me just scroll down here. So I can pull out my taser pole. And then once it's done, I have to swap it out again. Not that it's a big deal or anything, because that's a quick change. So the idea that I would need an armory to do that doesn't really make sense. What would make sense is if I went into the armory and it was built up and it had my DPS loadout already, version of it, and I had like multiple versions of my DPS layout so I could do multiple different things. That would be cool to me. But some of it seems a little bit convoluted, but I'm really excited to have the armories, even for the fact that I will have Batman style gear in here. So that's cool in itself. I'm really excited about the armories, and I'm sure everyone else is. I'm sure there are tanks and stuff that have multiple different versions of their loadout that they use for very specific things, and that is awesome. It's awesome for the people that do that, but for people for me, it doesn't really do what I need it to do. But that's cool. Hopefully they will give more information in the upcoming months or so, and weeks and things like that, and let us know exactly what is going on with the armories and how they work exactly, and hopefully they will do a live stream and show off what you do with it, and I'm sure they will, because Jens likes to do a lot of Twitch streaming, which is awesome. I love that. Alright, nextly, I wanted to move on to DLCs and things like that. So, the first one that's coming up is going to be Sons of Trigon. And like I said, I'm hoping to do some PC test stuff, and I will probably do another Let's Talk... Ooh, oh god. Well, I don't know if I can take these guys on that. Like I said, I was hoping to do a PC test video, and then I wanted to do a Let's Talk DC Universe Online. Oh yeah, that didn't work out at all. I wanted to do a Let's Talk DC Universe Online, just talking about that DLC and all the cool things that are coming with it, and hopefully more information about DLCs coming out in the future. So, with the Sons of Trigon, they are adding the new Celestial power. And if you guys haven't seen them show off the Celestial power, you can see a little bit of it in the DCUO keynote speech at SOE Live, which was a pretty good video. They talked about a lot of stuff I will tell you now, but it's good to head on over to Twitch and take a look at those things, because all in all, they are really awesome, all the things that Jens talked about. But they're adding Celestial power, and what it's going to be is it's going to be a healer power. That's one of the secondary role of it. And a lot of people were wondering, well, what's the difference between Celestial and magic? Well, Celestial is a bit more a MIDI nature sorcery healer. It's the way Jens described it is most healers stick out in the back and watch the power bars and the health bars and stuff and keep that going, and they stay out of the fight because they are weaker than the rest of the DPS and stuff like that, which makes sense. But the Celestial power set will give healers the ability to become a battle healer. They will be able to fight directly in the battle, and fighting directly in the battle and using combinations in the battle with your powers will help you heal faster and better. So it's kind of cool. If you're a healer and you've always really kind of wanted to get close into the battle, fight guys, and do all that stuff, this would be perfect for you guys. It will be probably a really awesome power when it comes out. Nextly, they were talking about the Halls of Power, what it would become. I don't know when this one will come out and what it will be, but Halls of Power is going to end up being its own DLC, which is going to take us to Apocalypse and New Genesis. And you're going to be able to fight the new gods and go through the whole storyline there and learn all that really cool stuff that goes on with that. So that's really interesting. More interesting thing that comes with it is in the future here, they're going to implement the ability to fight iconic characters that come into your base and fight you. So a little PvE action inside your base, rather than just having to queue up for a PvP. You'll have to defend your own base from iconic enemies. And along with that, with the Halls of Power DLC, I don't know if they're going to change it. I'm thinking they may or may not. I don't know. That was the worst answer. I'm thinking they may or may not. So, but what they have planned is that when that comes out, League bases, when you're fighting in Apocalypse or you're fighting in New Genesis, you're going to be pissing off a lot of guys. And a lot of people are going to come after you because you fought them. And you're going to have to defend your League base against those PvE attacks. You're going to have to get your team together and fight these guys in your base. And that idea is really awesome, to have that interaction with the world outside of it just being a base where you meet up with your team and you do sort of raids and things like that. That's really cool. And I should probably mention with the League bases that they're going to put out, they're also going to add leaderboards. And it's not going to be your average leaderboard. Let me see if I can warp to the... I don't think I can. No, I can't. It's not going to be your average leaderboard. It's going to be, you know, in the Hall of Justice, there's the statues of Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman. In your League base, you get to set up these pedestals in there. And you get to set up whatever the leaderboard would be. So whoever's getting the most damage output, who's doing the most healing output, who's got the, I don't know if it'll be like who's the highest level in the league, but what it will do is it will take an image of what your character is wearing at that time, and it will put it on that pedestal. So you will have this giant statue of your character in the League base showing off how awesome you are. And that is awesome. Rather than being like a Call of Duty, this guy does this guy does that, it'll be a real interesting leaderboard. It'll be something you can be really proud of. And you get to change those and customize them, or you can leave it up and it'll update every month. And it'll show if somebody beats the person that was previously on there, it'll show them. So, all in all, that is really awesome for League bases. And the idea with the Halls of Power sending us to New Genesis and Apocalypse, you get to go to those worlds and check them out. And this is why I wanted to come back to the idea of them adding worlds and stuff and showing us new places. I hope that it will be a big area, a really fun area that you can meet up with people and you can run around and just explore the atmosphere that they create. I hope that's what it is, and not just a small meeting area, you know, a starter area and things like that. Nextly, DLC 9. So we haven't gotten to DLC 8 yet, which is Sons of Trigon. But after that, the next one that they are going to be doing is War of the Light. And the way the new DLCs are going to work is they're going to be episodic. They're going to be 3-part DLCs. So it'll be like War of the Light Part 1 and then some other DLC and different story. And then they may do another story and then they'll go back to War of the Light, which is also really awesome. Being Killer Croc here. So that's really cool that they're building these episodes rather than it just being an occurrence. And what War of the Light is going to bring is it's going to bring a new power set with it, and it's going to be blue lanterns. So that's going to be pretty cool to see another color. And Jens was saying that through the episodes of War of the Light, and while it's out, it will go through every emotional spectrum of the Lantern Corps. So that is also very awesome, that it will go through each of the colors, you will get to see all the different lanterns, and you will get to use all the different powers. So that's something I'm really excited for. Other than that, the next one after that is Amazon Fury, which is another Wonder Woman
These pipes
story.
are leaking toxic chemicals all
So
over the place.
they didn't mention a whole lot on that one, but with the War of the Light and the Amazon Fury, what they're going to do is they're going to take it. He mentioned with War of the Light that it would take the entire map of Metropolis. They were going to copy the map of Metropolis, and they were going to reskin it and change things in it, so that you had this whole version of Metropolis to visit that was based around this one DLC. And with Amazon Fury, he was talking about how they would do the same thing, but they were going to add new solo missions. So like the stuff from 1 to 30, they're going to introduce that into that DLC. And that I'm really excited for, because that is more story, and I am a big story person. Which leads us to the things that I hoped for, and I hope for, and I wish would happen in the game. Because I think they would be something that a lot of people would enjoy. A lot of people would not like this idea, but it's something that I wish would happen. The biggest thing that I was really hoping for with Origin Crisis when it came out was, especially since on the forums they were asking for a origin story and a place that was very iconic to your character. And I never really got to share the story of Shadow Justice. And in my mind, I feel I probably never will. But something I thought would have been really cool around the time when they were going to put out Origin Crisis was the ability to give your character an origin story. And that was something I was really hoping for, was this ability to, and even if nobody looked at it, I don't even care. But inside, maybe in my stats menu, or maybe they added a new one on here, or something when you look at a character. Like let's look at the perception here. Let's inspect them. What if I went and inspect them, and on the right side of the screen it gave me that person's origin story? Wouldn't that be cool? To learn about what this person would be? And I'm a big storyteller person. I really like to create a story, especially in games. I like to create my own story. And with MMOs, it really seems awesome to give your character his own backstory and create this world around your own character. And that's something I wish they would put into the game. Even if a lot of people didn't use it, or a lot of people abused it, or a lot of people didn't like it, I still feel like it would be something that a lot of people would enjoy. So, that is our Let's Talk of DC Universe Online Part 1, guys. So, hopefully next time I'll be able to talk about more about the DLCs that are coming out in the future. Hopefully they will put out a end of the year roadmap and a 2014 roadmap for the game, so that we can take a look at what DLCs are coming, what's coming up in the future, game updates, things like that. So stick around, guys, and let me know if you like this episode or not. It's really just me talking about what I think's interesting in the game, what I had a problem with, and things that I wish would be fixed and what would be implemented. So if you guys want to, in the comments, you can tell me if you guys disagree or agree or think my ideas are stupid, or if you think they're amazing, then that would be awesome. And if you think they're amazing, you should head over to the forums and find a page and just yell at people about it. Ask them, why is this not in the game? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Because I'm sure that'll piss them off, but heck, if it gets me the ability to tell my backstory for Shadow Justice, then I am all for it. So, thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you guys next time.